Terry Notary is a name you may not have heard before. Truth be told, you may not have even seen his face, as he spent over 2 decades building a career as one of the leading motion capture performers in film today, specifically with Apes.
When we go to take our first step, you reach and absorb through the shoulder. Boom, keeping those hips square.
He's helped the Apes rise, enjoy the dawn, and even go to war. Outside of Apes, he's either provided motion capture or movement choreography as the Hulk and Abomination in the forgotten Edward Norton sort of MCU film The Incredible Hulk, Groot in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, the Clickers in the Last of Us series, 2 different Fantastic Four films, the Hobbit films, and even the first Avatar. It seems that whenever a project calls for unearthly creatures or monsters, he's there to coach other motion capture actors how to create a consistent, cohesive blueprint for how they move and behave.
When I start working with actors, we get into the zone of being the character rather than playing the characters. It had to feel like nature was unfolding in a scary, scary way.
But man, Terry just has this really specific skill of mimicking the movements and mannerisms of apes. And I was really looking forward to seeing his work again in the excessively long-titled The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but it turns out he didn't work on it. But it doesn't matter because I don't care. I still want to talk about him.
I just love it because you feel so real. You feel so honest and so open. You're looking at stuff like a baby, you know?
It's mesmerizing. Every time I see him in action, it's just this whole other category of acting that I think is overlooked. Sure, Andy Serkis is out there spreading the word, and he's a boss. But I let's just focus in on Terry for a minute, because I think this guy's really cool, and I just want to share some of his work with you.
Terry Notary is perhaps the greatest unsung hero of this whole franchise. He's the most extraordinary artist, performer, amazing human being.
Action, Terry.
But before we I just want to take a moment and thank you as usual for watching and commenting, subscribing, hitting that notification bell. It's all good. Just please keep doing it, supporting this channel. And of course, we also have a Patreon. If you would like to help support this channel in a money way, just check it out. We got some good rewards going, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Thanks for watching. According to Terry, he was always full of energy. Apparently, when he was 8 years old, he was just so hyperactive, his parents took him to get a brain scan, confirmed that he had ADHD, and the doctor pretty much said, look, you can put him on Ritalin or sign him up for some kind of sport, some kind of physical activity. Get this kid doing something. And that activity ended up being gymnastics.
It was in gymnastics that was like, something just clicked, you know, after getting kicked out of the gymnastics class a few times, and I finally learned a backflip, and I was like, whoa, okay. It was like something just happened, and I just had this discipline, and all of a sudden I was hooked in gymnastics, and all that energy went to one thing.
After honing his acrobatic skills for years, he got multiple scholarships, attended UCLA as a theater major, and officially began a career as an acrobat for Cirque du Soleil, eventually getting his first gig as a movement choreographer for Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
I was helping the extras and that were coming in how to do who movement, how to move like who's, because I'd been thinking about it, and I thought, I'm going to teach people, you know, what we should do, come up with a common denominator so we all look like we're coming from the same gene pool. And then we can all go off and become our own who's, you know, in the film and with their own personality, but we all should look like we are, you know, coming from a common denominator.
Shortly after, Terry's career took a whole new direction when he taught Ape School 3 days a week on the set of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, coaching the main cast and helping them develop their specific ape personas.
Tim wants the movement to be realistic. So I went and played with chimps, watched apes in the zoo, and just pretended that they were humans in costume. And said, okay, what little things are human that they do? And using all those things that are so similar as a base for the movement.
And as we've previously mentioned in the Paul Giamatti video, Paul loved it.
But they were very specific about the type of ape that they wanted you to be. I mean, I'm an orangutan, so they have very specific ways of standing, and they hang from things a lot.
And you know, they really are different. This whole thing reminds me of a video I watch maybe once every 12 minutes, and it's Terry promoting the release of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes by showing how each ape moves differently.
Orangutans, which are very, very economic, there's not a lot of effort with what they do. They're super, super economic and really sort of...
Again, God, it's magic. How does he do this? It seems like he's just able to effortlessly switch between these different apes. You're seeing like this lifelong honing of this mimicry skill that is just off the charts. I mean, by this point in his career, he had gotten it down. In addition to more movement choreography work in Avatar and the Hobbit franchise, he continued to play apes in several films, all with their own specific personalities and backstories. On his performance as Kong in Kong Skull Island, he said that he played him as a 14-year-old boy who had never had an adolescent growth, and he was saddled with this responsibility and this weight and this burden to protect. He was pretty remorseful inside and depressed, and it was the beginning of this coming out of this boy and starting to wake up again through this experience. Then you've got his performance as Rocket in the Planet of the Apes franchise. On that performance, he said, with Rocket, he had a lot of guilt from his past because of just how he was, and when he became smart, he was able to look back at himself and go, what a jerk I was. And so his whole life is about servitude and making up for the past and doing what's right. And he's found that through Caesar. He follows him like a religious figure, like a prophet. So I was basically working on my Catholic upbringing when I'm working with that character. So it's about repentance and making up for things, a lot of guilt in him, but that guilt is his fuel. More recently, he worked on Jordan Peele's Nope as Gordy, an ape who's the focal point of a fictional sitcom, Gordy's Home, who, in one brutal, terrifying scene, snaps and viciously attacks the cast and crew. The coolest part about this is there's this special feature on the Nope Blu-ray showing the entire scene before the visual effects were added, so it's just Terry. And you know what? There's not a human being in this scene. I don't see Terry. I see an honest-to-God terrifying ape. I had that same feeling when I watched Ruben Östlund's darkly funny critique and analysis of the art world in the film The Square. The whole movie takes shots at the absurdity of art and what it is, how it's defined, and all the obnoxious, pretentious people at the center of it. In one scene, the who's who of the art world are invited to this interactive exhibit.
Welcome to the jungle. Soon you will be confronted by a wild animal. If you try to escape, the animal will hunt you down.
In comes Terry, full ape mode with those cool little arm extender things, and he just proceeds to mess with people. It starts off innocent at first, it chases the guy out of the room, until some primal instincts take over and nobody feels safe. Terry recalls having a lot of fun with this performance. They tried it in a variety of ways, exploring and improvising, because, you can't really predict the nature of an ape and have it be this very strict, rehearsed thing. And that's actually something that Terry railed against when he was coaching actors for the Planet of the Apes films. He said, with the Apes films, for example, when you are becoming an ape, the first thing they do when they come in is they go, well, what do I do? How do I do it? I've been working on it. No. You haven't been working on it, have you? Please don't say you've been working on it, because we're going to remove all of that right now. So we take a day, and they don't even get to be an ape for a whole day. They just sit and breathe and open up, and we create a blank slate. And they're like, okay, I think I'm getting it. And we go into this place where you drop in and you widen your peripheral and you open up. You become like a child. You forget everything you know and you become a receiver and a giver. So we emit and we receive, and you need to expand the vehicle of expression. This all sounds like so much damn fun. I want to do this so bad. I am 100% jealous of anyone who's had the privilege of working with this man.
It was amazing. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life physically. The beautiful thing about it was that we got to use and interact with real props. And we were jumping over real cars. We were smashing real windows. It was something that you didn't have to pretend.
He continues to work like crazy, most recently providing movement work for Mike Flanagan projects like Midnight Mass and The Fall of the House of Usher.
You picked the worst job to hide your true nature.
And as previously mentioned, he's the one that keeps all of the motion capture actors on the same page in The Last of Us, creating and maintaining a foundation for the disturbing movements and mannerisms of the cordyceps monsters. Through hard work and some happenstance, he's developed this incredible, specific talent that, oddly enough, serves a need in Hollywood time and time again.